All right.
Thank you for doing this again. The first question is whether we can extend for another week. That was a joke. Now, my question relates to what you mentioned this morning when you talked about the three bodies.
Yeah.
So I thought you gave a very beautiful explanation about the subtle body. You know, the subtle body is like that free luggage that survives death.
Yes.
And so what you were saying is, as long as there is luggage, there is rebirth.
Yes.
And when everything is gone, there is no more luggage.
That's right.
Empty pockets.
Yeah.
This is when liberation happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have luggage, will travel.
So the question then relates to the causal body.
Yeah.
You didn't say much about the causal body, and then you said we are not any of these three bodies.
Correct.
If you can maybe expand on this.
Causal body, nothing much to think about, because the more we think about it, the more confused we get. We don't, it's very confusing. So I just like to look at the causal body as just ignorance. That is what causal body is. Causal body means cause of birth. What is the cause of birth? Ignorance. What kind of ignorance? Self-ignorance. I don't know myself, A. So B, I come to think of myself in many, many different ways, which are not correct, incorrect representations, incorrect assimilation of I. And that's what leads to birth. That's what leads to baggage. And so that is the causal body. Now, dehatrayatitaha means, if I say I am the physical body, then what happens? One is fraught with fear. Always one is afraid. Oh, what's going to happen now? Oh, one more gray hair. Oh, one more joint is not working. One more joint is not working. One more thing is not happening. Yeah, I was wondering where you are. Come, come. So, one more thing is not working. One more thing is not happening. So, if one thinks I am the body, so obviously one is not the body, one survives the body. And then obviously one is not the subtle body either, because if you have an identification with the subtle body, then there is another kind of a problem. There's a far away look in the eye. Even though you're embodied here, you just feel like your life is somewhere else in the world of the subtle and everything. And that is, very few people can really balance that. It causes a certain kind of a craziness if it's not handled properly. And you are not the subtle body either. Are you your luggage? No. Even though I was traveling with somebody, and then we were waiting for the luggage to come on the things that go around. What is that called? Samsara. Okay, so, Samsara carousel. So it was going round. And then my travel partner got very excited when she saw her suitcase, because we were standing here, it came from there. So she saw that and she said, "That's me, that's me." I said, "No, that's not you." So that's what I'm saying, the identification. That's not you. I mean, you're not your socks and your clothes. The whole idea is funny. And so therefore, you're not the subtle body either. And you're not the causal body, because the cause is self-ignorance. And if you say, I am ignorance, then what should I say? Please see me after the session. That's all I have to say. So therefore, one is not all three. Then if one is not all three, is one non-existent? No. Then what is one? One is Satchidananda. One is Brahman. One is Ishvara. In the form of that, aware, full, present, existent, consciousness that never comes to an end, that is as though sporting a body, a subtle body, a causal body, as though sporting a mind, as though sporting a house, a life. This all, when you know this, when you know the satyam, the truth of yourself, all the whole mithya world, this dependent reality becomes a play. When you know the truth, you can have fun, you can play. Otherwise, you take the game too seriously. That's the idea. Yes.
I have a follow-up question on this. So the one who is liberated, so they never come back. Why don't they come back? Because they are the ones who can heal.
Yeah, but they have already healed because they didn't get liberated after death. They were already liberated.
Yes, but they can come
they
back
heal.
and
they'll liberate other people. Yeah.
So do they come back?
They will not come back. Why should they come back to heal? See, this is something I've never understood. A person told me that, you are my guru in this life. Can I have you as my guru in the next life also? So I said, I'm not planning to have a next life. So if you are, don't worry, because a guru will be provided for you in the next life. So the idea is that, you don't catch hold of one particular, the whole thing doesn't depend on one particular person. And so there are many liberated beings. There are many people who have moksha, and the person you are saying, the liberated individual will be liberated Jivan. That's why it's called Jivan Mukti, not after death or after going somewhere. Right here in this body, one is liberated. One is with all the other people. One teaches, one inspires, one does whatever one does. And then Bhagavan does whatever Bhagavan does. The body falls at some point. And then why? There is nothing to bring them back. There are no suitcases, correct? There is no passport. Passport, physical body. No suitcases, no passport, no ignorance. What will make them come back? There is no impetus to come back. Meaning, it's not that they are decimated or gone or disappeared. They are Bhagavan. Even while here, they were Ishvara, and then they are one with Ishvara. That's all it is. It's like a pot, it's like a gold chain. That's a better example. So the gold chain, somebody inherits and they don't like the design, so they take it to the jeweler. In India, this is a common practice. You take it to the jeweler, and the jeweler weighs it. And the jeweler says, and cuts off some things, like a little bit of silver will be there mixed in the gold in order to make it more malleable, sometimes copper. So that all he minuses in his mind. And any kind of designs and all that, it doesn't matter. The intricate design, etc., doesn't matter. He just gives you the money for the gold, correct? And then you make a new necklace. That is basically what you do. You make a completely new necklace. So you cannot say that the necklace, that necklace is destroyed. The first necklace is not destroyed. It's not destroyed. It has just gone back to gold. So similarly, the jnani is not destroyed. The jnani is very much there as an altar of surrender. And so that's why we revere the gurus long after they are gone, for centuries after they are gone, because they don't want anything. They give you whatever you want. They become an altar of wish fulfillment and surrender. That is how it works. So I must also add that in other traditions, in the Buddhist traditions, they do have this idea that the enlightened soul takes birth again. And so the Lama, the baby Lama, will look at the cup and certain other scrolls and say, this is mine. And that's how that baby is chosen to be the next Lama. So like that. We don't have that. The work is done and you become an altar for everybody. That is how it is. You don't need to come back. Because if supposing you say, oh, but what about all the ignorant people in the universe? There'll be the people that this jnani has taught, or there'll be other enlightened people, liberated people who can lead them on.
There's an online question. Can
Yeah.
we want to unmute? Anna?
What is the prasad? Is there any prasad for today? Give that boy something. Yeah. Yeah. Give him. Yeah. Om.
Om. It's so nice to see you, and I'm so happy that everybody is there and in your presence. I have this question. The other day, somebody asked about smiling. And ever since I was a kid.
Jana, I'm sorry, we cannot hear you. So maybe you can type your question.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
No, we cannot hear. So yeah, if you can type the question, in the meantime, we'll.
Yeah, here,
continue
this one.
there.
Wait, how about now? Can you hear me now? No? Mute. Okay.
I'm very interested in what you said the other night about dreams, and that I can enter any aspect of my dream, and
Yes.
that I am it.
You are, yes, you are everything. Sentient, insentient, everything. It's being upheld entirely by you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I also, but then I'm confused because there's moments where I hear you say, and so then I think, I am everything.
Yes.
And then I'm not my suitcase.
Yes.
And so I'd like you to explore.
Suitcase is not separate from you, but you are not the suitcase.
I need you to explore that for me more, because I'm not getting it.
Yeah, I can understand. Everything is Atma. And for the Atma means I. For the Atma to be everything, it cannot be any one thing. You see? So, chain is gold, is it not? Ring is gold. Bangle is gold. Nose stud is gold. Earring is gold. But can you say gold is chain? Can you? No. Gold is nose stud? No. Similarly, everything is non-separate from me, and I am not any one thing. Here, come, sing your bhajan. Come. Yeah.
Thank you, Swamiji, for this opportunity. I was looking at the prayer book, and I saw one of the favorite bhajans of Swami Vishnu Devananda, and I happened to know that bhajan, so I said, let me try giving a chance with it. And Raj said he'll play the guitar for the song. So
Oh, very nice. Nicely arranged.
So I'll sing the first line, and if you all can repeat, I'll go slow first, and then the second round will be faster. Ready? Dasharathanandana Ram Ram.
Dasharathanandana Ram Ram.
Daya Sagara Ram Ram.
दया सागरा राम राम
दशरथ नंदन राम
दशरथ नंदन राम राम
दया सागरा राम राम
दया सागरा राम राम
पशुपति रंजन राम राम
पशुपति रंजन राम राम
पाप विमोचन राम राम
पाप विमोचन राम राम
पशुपति रंजन राम राम
पशुपति रंजन राम राम
पाप विमोचन राम राम
पाप विमोचन राम राम
लक्ष्मण सेवित राम राम
लक्ष्मण सेवित राम राम
लक्ष्मण सेवित राम राम
लक्ष्मण सेवित राम राम
लक्ष्मी मनोहर राम राम
लक्ष्मी
मनोहर राम राम लक्ष्मण सेवित राम राम
लक्ष्मण सेवित राम राम
लक्ष्मी मनोहर राम राम
लक्ष्मी मनोहर
राम
राम
राम सूक्ष्म स्वरूप राम राम सूक्ष्म स्वरूप राम राम सुंदर वदना राम राम सुंदर वदना राम राम सूक्ष्म स्वरूप राम राम
सूक्ष्म स्वरूप राम राम
सुंदर वदना राम राम सुंदर वदना राम राम दशरथ नंदन राम राम
दशरथ नंदन राम राम
दया सागरा राम राम
दया सागरा राम राम
दशरथ नंदन राम राम दया सागरा राम राम
दशरथ
नंदन राम राम दया सागरा राम राम लक्ष्मण सेवित राम राम
लक्ष्मण सेवित राम
राम लक्ष्मी मनोहर राम राम
लक्ष्मी मनोहर राम राम
लक्ष्मण सेवित राम राम लक्ष्मी मनोहर राम राम लक्ष्मण सेवित राम राम लक्ष्मी मनोहर राम राम सूक्ष्म स्वरूप राम राम सूक्ष्म स्वरूप राम राम सुंदर वदना राम राम सुंदर वदना राम राम दशरथ नंदन राम राम
राम राम
दया सागरा राम राम
दया सागरा राम राम
दया सागरा राम राम
I have another question that relates to what we discussed yesterday. And the question is the guru and the disciple. You know, yesterday you were saying in the old days, they were like disciples. They were 32 years in a, you know, looking after cows. So there is a teaching relationship between the guru and the disciple. And then you mentioned that has changed in today's world because there is Zoom. So my question is, how is that relationship today? But also here at Shivananda, you know, Shivananda died 60 years ago, 60 plus years ago. What if the guru has passed away? And there's still be teaching? Is there teaching subtle world? If you just could expand on this.
The relationship of the Guru-Shishya relationship has changed because we have changed. The civilization itself has undergone a change. Who has the time to take care of cow even for one day, let alone 33 years? And we don't have focus, we don't have determination, and we want we have this habit of what is that called? Instant gratification. I want Vedanta yesterday, and I want it immediately. Without having to do anything, I want it. This is the kind of a thing. And so the relationship between self-growth, emotional maturity, as a preparation for this knowledge is not understood. Earlier it was understood because generally the culture was such that the gurus themselves were revered whether one wanted knowledge from them or not. And also if one wanted knowledge from them, that was something that the disciple who wanted to be a disciple would cherish and would approach the teacher for this knowledge. So now it has changed because everybody wants the guru to choose them. This itself is some kind of a wishful thinking. And so that is different because now it is not like that. People don't want to be tied down to one particular way of thinking, one particular mindset, one particular ashram, one particular lineage. Already there is a notion of bondage, and that notion of bondage, that feeling that I'm already trapped in samsara and now I go to an ashram. And here also I am trapped. And partly it's unfortunate, but partly our language has also needs to change. Somebody living in an ashram is called an inmate. Alas. Inmate of what? Perhaps we can say the zenitentiary. Okay, so maybe that's what one is an inmate of. So this inmate business makes you feel kind of trapped. Like, the inmate is only used for people who are incarcerated. And so this is a mate who is inside. Okay, yeah. And so inmate means this is a little frightening. OMG. So, and then also there is this feeling that the feeling that one is being taken over is extremely prevalent these days. Extremely prevalent. Because one is sensitive to issues of boundary and boundary violation. We are becoming much, much more aware of that. So one feels taken over. And that is partly the reason why there is a fear of commitment. There is a fear of commitment in general. And so a fear of commitment to a guru, to an ashram, to a lineage, all these things, there is definitely there. And before, the guru's reputation was enough to go and study with the guru. Now you have to Google a guru. Yeah. You Google a guru, and then there is I am told, I don't know which site it is, okay? I'm told there is a site where fraudulent gurus are listed along with their deeds, whatever they have done and all these things. Somebody told me that. So the internet is very helpful. It even tells you who to avoid. Based on, again, reviews. TripAdvisor, this is a 1-star guru. Nobody wants to go. Because that's the least you can give. And somebody can write in the review. In fact, I would have liked to give no stars. But I'm forced to give just 1 star because that's the least one can give. Yeah, so this is all going on, and that's feeding into our distrust as a humanity. That's feeding into our distrust. That's feeding into our fear of commitment. Nobody wants to commit to anything. That's why it is very difficult to get married. That's why the Indian parents of youngsters are pulling their hair out in clumps. This is what it is. Why don't you get married? Don't feel like it, mom. This is what they say. In America, parents take it easy. You do whatever you want. Are you 18? Check. Okay, fine. You're an adult. But here, as I told you, the Indian parents don't know how to not be parents. And so they get very worried. They want their children to be, quote unquote, married and settled. And thing is, the settled means the parents want to feel settled. That's all. Yeah. Yeah, because an unmarried offspring, according to the Indian parents, is very unsettling. Okay. So even for marriage, there is no commitment, there is fear. And so what to talk about a lifelong commitment called Vedanta, where one wants to study and one wants to change, one wants to grow. And so that is the way things have changed. And the next part of the question is it enough to commit to a guru that is no longer in the body? Is a dead guru enough, let us say? I would say yes and no. Yes, because it is an altar of surrender. That individual meant something. And also maybe you read the book of that Mahatma and you said, okay, I really want you to be my teacher. I want you to lead me. I want you to do this. And then that teacher, who is no longer in the body, will bless you to find a teacher who is in the body. That is how it works. That is exactly how it works. Because of your sincere burning desire to study and learn, because the learning is dynamic. What is it that needs the teaching? The subtle body does not need the teaching. It is just baggage. It is inert. The gross body does not need the teaching. And if you just tell the body, hey, you are Brahman, it makes no difference to that. Mind also inert. So what is it that needs the teaching? Ahankara needs the teaching. The I notion, which has mistaken itself for something else, needs the teaching. And that needs to sit and listen. Is it possible to listen to, let's say, the guru has left a big compendium of audio material. And if I have to listen, is it possible to listen and then get this knowledge? Yes, why not? It is possible. But my question then would be, what is wrong with a guru that is alive? What is the issue there? Because one feels safe with a guru that is no longer in the body. You know what? You cannot hurt me. You are in some other realm. You cannot disappoint me. You cannot let me down. There is a kind of a safety with the guru that is no longer in the body. But that is also a sense of complacency. Vedanta requires a leap of faith. And that leap of faith, and of course, one has to choose the guru properly. That's another thing. One has to choose properly, and then having chosen properly, then one is able to commit. And that commitment itself brings up issues, core issues, fears, etc. We work with that, and then we grow.
We can try the online now? Yes. So we can try Jana's question.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Okay. Thank you so much for being there, and thank you for entertaining my question. The other day, someone asked a question about smiling, and I wanted to try to get into this a little deeper. When I was a kid, I remember being like 8 years old, 9 years old, and people would say, "Oh, why are you so sad, little girl?" And I would say to them, "I'm not sad. I'm just thinking." I'm thinking about all this stuff. And I think I've always kind of been that way. I've always been questioning and thinking. And that doesn't really go well with smiling. And so, for example, there's nothing that I love more than laughing, for sure. I don't find many venues where I can laugh, but I'm wondering how I could bring the smiling and the laughing, and what is that? I mean, other than fake it till you make it, I'm wondering how I can bring that into, for example, even my study or my listening to Vedantic thought, you know, I mean, and how do I bring that into my tendency to always think about things and question things, and how can I bring that into that?
I would begin by laughing at myself, thinking things. And when we are able to laugh at ourselves, then we are able to laugh at other things as well. And fake it till you make it is a very good thing. Yeah. If you smile, even with clenched teeth, then after a while you laugh at yourself and then the teeth unclench. So we begin by just practicing, smiling for no reason at all. And then it becomes a habit. And it's not even the habit, it's one's nature.
I have a question about when you receive praise or compliments, how do you not let that inflate your ego and not identify with it?
Yeah, that's a very good question. In India, we have a formula for that. No matter how high the praise, people will say, let's say you go to somebody's house and praise their house. What a lovely house, you've kept it so nicely. They will say, this is the grace of God. And you go to somebody's house and praise their cooking. This is the grace of God and my mother who taught me. And then you say, oh, you chant so well, you know the Vedas. How did you? Guru's grace. Inside they'll be feeling happy. Oh, they're appreciating me and my house. But at least on the lips, the answer is, you make a very strong and overt intervention into that praise. Before the praise hits the head, you make a strong intervention and attribute it to Bhagavan, Guru, anybody. And then even though it may be lip service at first, it sinks in because that is the reality. That is how not to get the praise into the into the psyche. And criticism, you can't do that. You cannot say it's because of the guru I'm like this. It's because of my elders I'm like this. So there we take responsibility. Okay, yeah.
Swaminiji, now with this question and the answer to this, and the earlier discussions that we have had about when you say your dog looks nice or your house looks nice,
And you say thank you. Yeah.
So what you're saying is that we have to come to an in-between spot between thanking for what we are being complimented on and attributing the compliment to.
Yeah, no, you see, that was just a joke because that misidentification is so complete. You praise the dog, the owner says thank you. And this is, it just strikes, certain things strike me as funny. That's all. This is one of them. But it's a good habit to give up the agency. Give up the agency. So even if somebody praises the dog, you can say God's grace. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
I have a question. Namaste, Swamiji. This morning, you spoke about dreams and said that we should let it go. But I just had a question. Do dreams mean anything? And do the time of the dream mean anything?
Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, said every dream is an unopened letter. That's what he said. But the problem is you should know how to open it. We don't know how to open that letter. But he wrote a big book of signs and symbols and what these things mean. He was a rishi, really. So much knowledge. And he had studied dreams a lot. And he has made a whole thing of, if you dream this could be part of the unconscious mind. But then, of course, there are cultural symbols also. If you're Indian and you dream certain things, then those are auspicious, etc. Because it's culturally associated to be auspicious. But most of the time, we don't have the time to work with the dreams. And we have to be careful about dreams, because if we make the dream reality more of a reality than the waking reality, then we are in soup. So it's best to just observe it. And if it is telling you something, let's say, you're being chased by somebody in the dream, that means there is some fear. So what is this fear? Maybe that which is chasing you is a deadline. Okay, you've understood that. And you let that go. Thank it and let that go. Some letters are dead letters. You can't do anything about them. You don't know how to decode them. You let them go. And the time of the dream, they say that there is a 4 o'clock in the morning, early morning dreams are more lucid dreaming possible just before you open the eyes. And not always, but possible. And they can be prophetic. So they could be prophetic. Or they could be telling you something about yourself. But these are very difficult to decode unless one has studied Jungian psychology, and that itself is a huge compendium of knowledge. Then you can think about what this means. Otherwise, you thank Bhagavan for giving you a particular insight and you let it go. And if it is prophetic, if you know something is going to happen, well and good. Enjoy that knowledge.
Thank you.
If moksha is the goal, do we need to spend time on acquiring punyas?
Yes. Yes. Because the pursuit of moksha itself is not understood. Moksha is not like going to Starbucks, which I hear is somewhere over there, and then getting mocha since there. It may sound similar, but it is not the same. It's not just one thing to acquire, one more thing to acquire. In fact, moksha is shedding. That's why I call the Upanishad should be pronounced as Upanishad, because it makes you shed notions, shed wrong beliefs about myself, the universe, and Bhagavan. This is what moksha is. So it's a committed pursuit. And in any pursuit, will there be obstacles? You bet. There will be definitely obstacles. Obstacles are karmic, mostly icky. Okay. And so they are karmic. And so that karma has to be neutralized so that I can continue on the path. The mind itself is a powerful inhibitor sometimes. It inhibits some strange idea will come. I think I'm not going to do this anymore. I think I'll go open a restaurant. So somebody did that after studying for 3 years. I think I'll go open a restaurant. I think I'll do something else. So one may say, okay, what is wrong? Nothing wrong. But that's not, they did not get their goal. They were swerved away from the goal. And were they happy opening a restaurant? Short answer, no. They had a lot of trouble and it was difficult, and it turned out that it was not something they really wanted. And so 8-9 years went in that. And then they came back, a couple, okay, came back to the ashram again and tried again so this is like a lot of going round and round. These are all certain subtle obstacles. So in the beginning especially, and even otherwise, it's good to be prayerful and pray for the obstacles to recede. I won't say we have to gather punya, but it's more in the prayer itself gives punya. Listening to Vedanta itself is punya. So it's not about punya, but so much as it is about being prayerful, so that I'm not by the worst of my own tendencies hijacked from this path. May I always be this. And in the Sama Veda, Shanti Mantra, there is one very nice, 2 lines are there. I want you to repeat it because it's really wonderful. Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarot Mama Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranam Astu Anirakaranam Astu Anirakaranam me astu. We repeat this every day. Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranam astu Anirakaranam me astu Ma aham, may I not. Brahma, Ishvara, Brahman, Nirakuryam, may I never be in the place where I negate Ishvara. I say you don't exist or you are not worth pursuing as myself. May I never ever see that day. Maham Brahma Nirakuryam. Then the second line, Ma, may it not, Mam, the second Ma is me. May Brahman never, may Ishvara never reject me. May I never reject Bhagavan. May Ishvara, may Brahman never reject me. Let there be non-negation, anirakaranam, on all sides. And let there be non-negation for me. This is a very, very powerful prayer. Why will you reject Ishvara? You are Ishvara, you won't reject Ishvara. The as though, somehow getting hijacked by something, getting abducted by some desire, some strong desire, something there, going on some path which is inimical to oneself. This is the problem. This is how the rejection, the as though rejection can happen. Much less, why will Bhagavan reject you? Bhagavan will not reject you at all, but it is a perception. God has abandoned me. God does not care. That's a perception. Bhagavan does not reject. When something difficult happens, one immediately goes there and says, Bhagavan does not love me. It's not true. Sometimes there are difficult karmas. That's what it is. It's not that Bhagavan doesn't care. So we repeat this to remember this. Anirakaranam astu, anirakaranam me astu. Let there be non-negation. Let there be non-negation for me. You can even say this in English. If you don't remember Sanskrit, doesn't matter. And when we say this all the time, then the obstacles to the desire for freedom and the desire for knowledge will recede. And the fire for the desire of knowledge will be kept burning brightly, which is what we want.
Namaste, Swami. My question is, when everything you teach, when this is working on a person, so there's a kind of shift of consciousness, and then how this person perceives the world is changing. So what happens then?
That's a wonderful question. Yeah. And I've got many versions of this question. Swaminiji, after listening to your teachings, I feel transformed. Now the old things that I like to do, like movies, gossiping, friends, does not interest me much. Potlucks, parties, does not interest me that much any longer. Oh, that's good, I say. No, because even I'm not that interested in Vedanta either. So I'm betwixt and between. Help. I'm neither here nor there. Bhagavad Gita has a very nice verse that addresses this. Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. We just follow the baby and the candy logic. You want to take candy from the hand of the baby. And whoever said it was easy does not have babies. Okay? Yeah. Never had a baby. So how do you take a candy out of the hand of the baby? You give it something else. Okay. It will hold the teddy bear. It will hold something. Hold the toy. And the candy falls down. Parents heave a sigh of relief. Oh, wonderful. We don't have to deal with a sugar high bouncing baby. And then you want the teddy bear. You want to put it in the washing machine because it has been a few years. How do you take the teddy bear? You have to give it something else. Teddy bear, security blanket, video game, something or the other. That is how the whole life, you replace an object with another object, then that object becomes less desirable because a new, more shiny object, when one is offered, then the older object becomes less desirable. This is what the Bhagavad Gita says. So in the beginning, you drop things that are things that do not serve you. They themselves, I can't even say you drop. It itself gets dropped. You find yourself not calling the people who, to use a kind of a trendy word, who are toxic. Now we are overusing the word. So you don't want to hang around with poisonous people. Toxic means poisonous. Okay, yeah. So you don't want to hang around anymore with people who are dysfunctionally relating to you and you are dysfunctionally relating to them. You are making that not a priority anymore. That is something that is there in the heart. You want to bring out the best in yourself. So why will you hang out with people who are complaining all the time, especially when you want to stop complaining? Help. And so that's already happening. Rasavarjam. So rasavarjam means without juice. So there is no juice in these kinds of outings and these kinds of meetings and these kinds of gatherings. They fail to amuse you anymore. But still there is a desire for them. There is a residual desire for them lurking in the heart. And you see a group of people, oh, I wish I was part of that. I wish I could go there. One person came to me and said, thanks to Vedanta, nobody is inviting me for Thanksgiving or Christmas. So sad, isn't it? So then this lady was very happy. She wrote to me, finally, I got an invitation for Thanksgiving. I'm going. I'm spending the whole afternoon and evening with this particular family. I said, good for you. Enjoy. And the next time I saw her, I said, how was it? She said, oh, I was bored out of my mind. It was just terrible. I didn't know what to talk. They didn't know what to talk to me. I couldn't handle it and it was impolite to leave. Especially having begged for an invitation and gone there, practically invited myself and went there. So that lurking desire is for the concept of that thing, not the thing itself. So the rasavarjam, so even if I have come away, I have deprived it of that kind. I'm not feeding that desire anymore. It is still there somewhere, but it goes. When the determination and the focus is squarely on Brahman, on this knowledge. When you pursue this knowledge fully, then that lingering residual desire for something or the other, which was catching you somewhere, there was a catch in the throat. Why can't I be unenlightened now? Too late, okay? You can unlike a friend on Facebook, but you cannot press the unenlightened button anymore. You are there, you're on a path, you are undergoing transformation. And so keep at it. And sometimes you'll feel, oh, maybe I'm, feel like second guessing oneself. Maybe I'm not doing this right, maybe this is. That's why we need other people. Even on Zoom, we need other people. And in fact, it is said that you only get 1/4 of this knowledge from the teacher. What? Yeah, only 1/4. What about the other 1/4? You get it from your fellow beings who are asking the question. It's not your question, but it speaks to me, even if somebody else asks the question. That's the point. And another 1/4, you get it while standing under the shower. Why? Because the head is having some blood supply. Hot water is giving it some blood supply, you think, and you get some aha moments by yourself in the meditation, etc., while ruminating on these teachings. And the last 4th comes in time. Just like you cannot force a rosebud to open. Come on, open. Swami is coming to my house and I want to give you to the Swami. Open. It will not open. It will not oblige. So just like that, in time, things will happen. So because the knowledge is dependent on the teaching, but also on having a group, that's very, very important. Extremely important. So we learn together. We ask questions. We study together. That's the way to ward off alienation.
I have a follow-up question, if I'm allowed.
Sure.
Because this is not, for me, this is not a matter of being in a group or not in a group, but what's happening in me, with me.
Yes.
How this teaching, how this everything is working on me, and how this shift of consciousness happens, and how it, I don't know how to say, there's a kind of calling which makes my perception, brings it on a different level.
Live different focus. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's wonderful. That's what I'm saying. So keep at it. Keep at it.
Oh.
Yeah, keep at it, regardless of how it may feel like, oh, maybe this is not right, or whatever it is. Like some lurking questions may remain, or something else may be there, but still keep at it. You're on the right track.
It makes me happy.
Yes,
This is the point.
exactly.
Yeah. I
Keep
don't
at it.
feel strange,
Yes,
but it makes
yes.
me happy, and
Wonderful.
I think, wow, this is amazing.
Yes, keep at it.
Oh,
yes. May it long continue.
Thank you.
Yes.
Om Swami. What is the best way to raise the vibration and keep it going?
I'm not sure what you mean by vibration.
Not energy level, but seeing clearly, coming back to seeing the full reality.
Okay. Constant and steady exposure to the teachings. That's the only way of keeping it going and keeping it on a steady level. There is no other way. There is, Andrea wants to ask a question here.
Thank you. I was wondering if you could talk how to serve and love without becoming depleted.
Yeah.
In a relationship and in work. And if one does burn out, what would you recommend?
We have to have healthy boundaries. That's very important. In any kind of a caregiving work, in any kind of a work of that requires outreach, serving, loving, etc. Even with the own family members. That is very important. The healthy boundaries cannot be, they cannot come from outside. They have to come from within. That means you have to be in touch with knowing how much you can give, what is realistic for you every day, and to be able to say, not now. Maybe not a full no, but not now. Maybe another time. So that healthy boundaries come from spending time with oneself. That's how they organically reveal themselves. That's the first thing. Second thing is to understand the spirit of service as an act of worship. So there one can give ungrudgingly. It's important to not, because the exhaustion comes from feeling a sense of resentment. Because I have not respected my own boundaries. Therefore, I become cranky. And so I see this as an act of worship. which I am willingly engaging in, which I willingly want to do. And then it really changes that. And so I don't do anything which I cannot do as an act of worship. So I just wait till I'm in that place where I can give. This is again part of the healthy boundaries. Then finally, I think it's important to be honest with oneself and see whether there is some kind of a unmanageable expectation in whatever one is doing. Of course, if I'm serving lovingly somebody, then I expect them to be appreciative. That's a normal human expectation. I expect them to be appreciative. I expect them to be reciprocative. I expect them to receive it well. These are all expectations, but sometimes they are not met. And I have to be willing to not take that personally. So each time I'm in a service, kind of a calling or a profession, I have to understand this very, very nicely, is to not take it personally when it is not appreciated. So how else should I take it? As an opportunity for my own growth, to be ready to drop the expectations more and more and more. By seeing whatever comes as a result of the service as prasada. When prasada is given out, when prasad is given out in the morning satsang and the evening satsang, what do? You receive, you eat. You don't say, why no banana today? That one got 2 banana pieces, I get only 1. What is this partiality? I'm a frequent visitor to this ashram. I demand banana prasad. Just like we don't do that. We take whatever is given, we just touch it to the heart, touch it to the eyes, and eat it. And that is a metaphor for life. Whatever comes, I receive it with reverentially and with glad acceptance. That is how I grow. Otherwise, there is no growth. Here.
Yeah, I have a question. Namaste, Swamiji. The question I had was, I'm a mother of 2 kids, and each one feels I like the other, would love the other person more. And that's not the case, right? I love your kids the same. But I don't want them, like, they're at an age where they're getting to college, being on your own. I don't want them to have that lingering feeling. So what can I do to not, for them to have that impression?
Nothing. Nothing more than what you're already doing. It is their own karmic trajectory. Because if you wear yourself out trying to please both of them, still they will be feeling that. Yeah, when that one came, you did this. And when I came, this was not done. Whenever I come, you're so busy. When that one comes, you have all the time in the whole world. Yeah. This will be there. So what to do? Don't have children. Simple. Then you, then you don't have this worry. Yeah, now it is too late for that. I acknowledge that. You already have them, you can't give them away. Too late to give them away. And so you just continue. And when that situation comes again, smile at both of them and say that your pain or your feeling of lack is very, very valid. Even Krishna and Balarama felt the same way. You take it back to history. Yeah. Rama and his siblings also felt the same way. Krishna and Balarama also felt the same way. So what is, we are just, it is normalize the feeling. Just say, of course it is normal. And it is their own karmic trajectory to sort it out. That's how it is. And then if you remain, as it were, not that you are uncaring, but if you remain asanga, uninvolved in whatever is going on, then they look at each other and say, maybe she doesn't like either of us. And as a result, they will bond, which is what you want. Ah. We have to drop the desperate desire to be loved and validated. Yeah. I validate you. I know you are a wonderful mom.
Hi, Svatmavidyananda. Namaste. Another question I have is concerns karma, and like, you're going through karma, but how do you know what is bad or what's good? Sometimes people with cancer, which we might be like, oh, that's bad, but they say that's the best thing that ever happened to me, right? Or your house burns down, and for some people that might be the worst, and some people might say, you know what, I had too many possessions, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. How do you know, or is there even bad or good karma? Is it all just our reaction to it?
Mm-hmm. Very good question. The pronunciation is karma, okay? And except when you're having car trouble, then you can say karma. All right, no problem. Then we are allowed to say karma. Otherwise, it's karma. Yeah. And so, how do you know if something is bad karma or good karma? Usually, we take the general. See, the person whose house burns down, that happened to my guru, by the way. Swamiji's little hut in Rishikesh in 1967 or 68. He was making tea, and the gust outside, somebody had given him a little, what is that, pumping gas stove, and you just kind of pump, and then you kerosene stove, and then you light it, and he had a tea pan. He was making chai, and then a gust of wind went. It was just a thatched hut, and he had actually started to write a commentary on the Brahma Sutras. He had he had quite a bit written. It all went up in flames. This was at a time when there is no, what is that called? Little discs or cloud. Yeah, there is no cloud. Yeah, there is no Dropbox. There is no cloud, nothing. In fact, even on that day, there were no clouds. That's why there was no cloud cover. That's why it just burned. It burnt in front of him. And of course, then some other people, he also went to the Ganga and got some water in that same tea pan and tried to douse it. It was just too much. The wind just ate it up. So he was able to say, all right, this is something new that is coming for me, and whatever was in it, let it go. And everybody else was crying about the Brahma Sutra commentary that would never come to light, but he was okay with that. But very few people are like that. Generally, it is taken as, oh no, why me? Why only it is happening to me? What's wrong with me? People take it personally. So we go by the definition of karma as something that generally what people see as distasteful. People cannot handle loss. People cannot handle destruction of property, things being taken away from them. People cannot handle fraud, somebody defrauding them. All these things are considered difficult karma, bad karma, papa, because it makes one suffer emotionally. Actually, karma does not give emotional suffering. It only gives discomfort. Because of our own self-ignorance, we convert the discomfort into emotional suffering. So this is optional in a way. Even though it doesn't look optional, it is optional. And we have the choice, as you said, to see that perhaps something may come out of it that is different. So after a period of grieving that loss, one is able to put that in a perspective or learn something out of it. It is possible. Even though right now I don't see it, but we can have the shraddha, the trust that it is there.
Yesterday, we talked about bank accounts, spiritual bank accounts. And so my question relates to what makes the bank account grow? And specifically, merit.
Marriage?
Yeah.
Merit. Oh, punya, punya. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there is seva, there is certain things we can do, but specifically punya.
Yeah. What makes the bank account grow? Each time you have a desire and you try to fulfill the desire, bank account grows. Yes. You accrue more karma. That's what happens. So punya, if you want punya to grow, prayer, which is kind of an internal activity, it's just between you and Ishvara, or reaching out actions, service, giving of charity. That is what makes the punya grow.
Om Swamiji. My question is about the doership and the enjoyership. Like you were talking about in the waking state, we have those two. And I understand we have to give both, but is there steps? Because if I give the doership and I still enjoy, it doesn't mean, seems to be correct. Do we need to do one first and then the next, or both of them drop?
Both of them are equally fraught. If I identify myself as an agent of action, that leads to guilt, because I'm always feeling I'm not doing this properly. I didn't do enough. I didn't do it the right way. There is a lot of regret. And the experiencership, if I say that I am an experiencer, and if that's my sole identity, if I'm convinced that that is my identity, then what happens? Hurt ensues, because I become a beggar at the altar of other people's omissions and commissions. Guilt is the result of my own omissions and commissions. Hurt is the result of other people's omissions and commissions towards me. Guilt sounds like, why did I do this? Why did I not do this? How could I have been so stupid? Hurt sounds like, why did they do this? Why did they not remember my birthday? Why did they not bring me a gift? That is the hurt. That is an example of hurt. So both of them, it's not, I mean, see, the nice thing is if you drop one, the other one also drops, because they are all interdependent on each other.
Which one to drop first?
There is no first. It's like chicken and egg, which came first? Tree or seed, which came first? Each one is feeding off the other. Yeah.
Can I ask something? So one question is about how to increase devotion. I mean, we've talked about it so much, but still, even though there's all the knowledge, still it feels like there's so much more to do in order to really open the heart and have shraddha.
Take the opportunity more and more. And devotion is not just happening during a certain time called puja time or worship time. One is growing from a person who prays to being a prayerful person. For a person who prays, prayer is a discrete act other than oneself. But for a prayerful person, every act is imbued with the attitude of prayer, an attitude of devotion. So everything I do carefully and devotionally, as though it is puja. This is the essence of karma yoga. That devotion must be there, as though this is worship of Bhagavan. Whatever I do, whether it is cooking, cleaning, any mundane task, or anything big which I'm doing, it is all in service. And then resentment will come some days. Anger will come. Just smile. I don't want to smile. Smile. And then slowly the teeth will unclench. Smile, breathe. But I don't want to. Doesn't matter if you don't want to. Even if you don't want to smile, smile.
And then there's a question about you and other teachers. You have so much knowledge, and your memory is so amazing. And I just wonder about us. I mean, how do we even, where do we even start? That's the question.
You don't need to memorize in order to have self-knowledge. Everybody is looking suddenly relieved. The whole energy in the room shifted. It was very palpable. Everybody went, oh, good. Thank God. There is hope for me. You don't need to memorize. You need to listen with an open heart, giving what is coming to you with the benefit of doubt. If you want to teach, it's a different thing. But if you just want moksha, you don't need to memorize. And memorizing is not going to do anything good in that sense. If you memorize the expression, I am Brahman, and rock back and forth, it's not going to help. You have to understand that. You have to understand that. And actually, when you relax and listen, so many things you remember than if you force yourself, because it's not about the mind engaging. The mind is a servant of this knowledge. It should be standing at the door and saying, what can I do? What can I do now? How can I be of service? The mind has to just be a receptacle where the knowledge is received. And that's why we have to prepare the mind. There is a joke from the 70s. The one brahmachari from an ashram went to a house, and because he wanted some, what are they called? Live kindling, coal, to make some khichdi or something for himself. So the lady of the house said, sure, I'll give you something. What did you bring to receive the coals? He said, I have the newspaper. She said, are you out of your mind? From here, you're going to walk all the way there, taking live coal in the newspaper. It's just going to, it is not only, the newspaper is going to be destroyed, and you are also going to be destroyed. And then he said, yeah, but it's the Sunday edition. It's, it's a little thicker. No use. She said, go get a, metal container. Similarly, if the mind is flimsy, it's not prepared, it is not in focus, it's all over the place, it cannot make a simple decision of what to have for breakfast. If this is the thing, then the mind has to be trained. No, but I can't make a decision. Make one anyway. Make it anyway and live with it. Oh, but what if there is FOMO? Live with the FOMO. Yeah. Live with the discomfort. No, but what if I make the mistake? Live with the consequences. There is growth there. Live with the consequences. Then okay, next time I really don't want this. Okay, great. Don't do it. So that is the idea, is to train the mind repeatedly and gently. It's just like going to the gym, training the mind. One day you go do something, and then you look in the mirror. Any muscle? No. Any muscle? No. Second day you go again. No muscle. Third day, no muscle. After 1 month, one baby muscle coming out. And then what? Oh, I got the flu. I didn't go for 3 days. Muscle gone. This is how you have to train the mind. It's just like going to the gym. The mind has to be kept on a diet of devotion, service, and listening. It has to keep on supplicating to listening. And then everything goes in. And that's what you need for really assimilating this knowledge and being free of sorrow and fear. You don't need anything else. Memorization is necessary if you want to teach it to others, not otherwise.
Hello. Devotion. I was raised Catholic. I've traveled a lot, have learned a bit about Hinduism, Buddhism. What does devotion mean? Does it have to be to a specific entity, or is it to your belief of compassion? Can it be kindness? Can it be towards what are we devoted to?
You are devoted to the practice of seeing everything that you do as an act of worship to God. That is what you're devoted to. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's what you're devoted to. You're devoted to the practice of seeing everything as an act of worship. Whatever you do, eating, drinking, sleeping, serving, everything is an act of worship. And so the recipient of all your actions is Bhagavan, Ishvara, God, however you may think of or however you may invoke. And that is what devotion is. So of course, compassion is part of it, kindness is part of it, love is part of it. It's all that, it's all included.
Swamiji, maybe we'll agree to share a story.
There is one more question.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the time will be up. Here.
Namaste, Swamiji. I had a question about shlokas and stotras. So yesterday you said that you need to pronounce it correctly.
Yes.
But growing up, we learned so many, and I'm sure now even Atharasha, when I say, I know I don't say it properly. So does that mean that it was a waste, or is there a good way to start? Like, do we start with the pronunciations first and then learn it, or I just wanted the process of doing it.
But the pronunciations is learning it, right? What do you mean? Do I do the pronunciations first and then learn it? I don't understand.
So I already know some where the pronunciations are not right.
Yeah, correct them.
So you rectify those.
Yeah, correct those, yes.
And then learn new ones?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes. You can learn new ones at the same time, no problem.
Okay.
But until you don't know, you see, this is, until you don't know, the bad karma will not accrue. This small child went to school, play school, and came back. And the mother asked the child, this is a true story. Mother asked the child, what did they teach you today? 2 hours small play school. And the child said, hopeless mummy, hopeless daddy, hopeless teachers, hopeless friends. And the mother said, what is this? Repeat again. Hopeless, hopeless, hopeless. And the mother said, what is going on in this school? Mother went to the teacher with a complaint. What are you teaching my child? It was, oh, bless mummy. Oh, bless daddy. Oh, bless my teachers. And oh, bless my friends. The child heard it as hopeless. 2, 3 years old. Do you think it has accrued bad karma for chanting it like that for a few days? No, because it didn't know. It didn't know any better. So just like that, we may be saying so many things, but until we know, it's all forgiven. Thank you very much. This has been very, very sacred and wonderful and delightful time. And all of you have been such, having such great attention. And I pray for your well-being, for your long life. good health, and may you gain this knowledge very, very soon. That is my prayer. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityo Ma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaga Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.